I want to talk about TV, or life without TV. I stopped watching TV regularly, completely, almost completely, about 2 years ago now. At first, it was fairly difficult, and I think that's because it wasn't that I couldn't find anything else to do. It was because the TV had set a routine in me. I don't know if it affected my biological clock or not, but there'd be certain programs during the day that would actually catch my attention. In particular, the 6 o'clock news on TV, which is very interesting in that here in Ireland it begins with something called the Angelus, which is the bells of a church ringing, and then the news begins. So you get like your little bit of Christian spirituality, and then you get on to stories about murders and rapes and whatever. And that, funny enough, was the thing that was not knowing what time it was. It just seemed a bit disorienting for a while, but that was it. I can't say I was actually, some people talk about being addicted to TV. That didn't happen to me. I can honestly say that giving up TV is probably one of the best things I've ever done in my life. Until you no longer watch TV, you really don't have any idea that it actually is a drug. It really is. It really does does things to your brain that's unnatural. And I think a lot of it has to do with the modern TV programs there, especially in the last 10 years. They move very, very quickly now. You have constant movement from frame, all kinds of effects. When you watch programs like news shows and documentaries, and they're just incredible how they all have this rapid movement, and that cannot be good, to be constantly bombarding your visual system and by extension your actual psyche with this kind of rapid moving imagery and info bombardment that you're constantly given. Then when you give up the TV, you start to spend more time doing things and you become more intelligent. By intelligent, I mean you don't suddenly become this sort of like pseudo-intellectual. You develop a visual intelligence after a while that when you go outside, you start noticing plants that you took for granted before. You may just walk by them. You start looking at them and you start examining them, and you remember their shape, or you take a piece home, or you take a photograph, and when you get home you look it up on the internet. That interest in botany and in animals in me came directly from not watching TV, because it's almost like TV blinds you in a way. It gives you so much information, rapid visuals, that it blinds you to everything else, and you sort of develop this tunnel vision where anything that doesn't look like a TV image is either boring or not important. And that happens, that you become very aware of that. You start noticing a lot of things. You become very attuned to things like the weather and clouds, and just things that you didn't pay attention to before. Another thing that I found very healthy about the TV not being on it anymore is that I read a vast amount of books, and not just books, magazines. I have a lot of books that I hadn't read in years, or I bought years ago and had not read them, and I began to read all of them. Now, this also brings on something else, and I don't know if anyone else has ever experienced this, but there was a radical change in shift in temperature in my home with the TV off. I can't explain it, but the TV is no longer on. It doesn't even exist anymore. There's no TV there. There's a small one that gets brought out now and again to watch DVDs, but no cable boxes plugged in or anything. And the TV is off most days. it'll come on now and again to watch a DVD, but it's off most of the week, and it's never ever any regular TV, satellite, terrestrial, whatever watched. But the temperature of the house changed. It got a lot warmer. I don't know if it wasn't a flat screen TV. It was an old tube TV from the late 1990s. It had a tube, cathode ray tube. Other people have suggested to me that the reason why I'm not as cold in winter anymore, and why the house is warmer, is because I'm moving around more. And at first I agreed with him, but then I thought about it. No, I'm actually probably moving around about the same when I'm indoors, because I'm reading. And I'm often sitting in the same chair I used to sit in watching the TV. And I don't need to put on heavy clothing in winter as much as I used to, or turn the heating up. And that came as a direct result of not watching TV anymore. But anyway, the TV, yeah, get that bloody thing off. It will destroy you. There's nothing good on it. There's absolutely nothing of any real meaningful worth on TV. Nothing. You will realise that when you switch it off. And when you switch it off, you'll see that your whole lifetime of watching TV was nothing more than a toxic relationship. And it's over, and this toxic relationship is now over, and it's time to reclaim and recapture your own personal, intellectual, psychological, and emotional sovereignty from a machine that has hijacked it, manipulated it, and just it has damaged you. And until you're away from TV, you won't realize how much TV has actually damaged you. And believe me, it does. There's no good in TV, none.